A family is still searching for answers over a year after their loved one was killed. Now police and the FBI, they need your help finding the suspect. There's now a $15,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of this man, Anthony Smith. Gwyneth Falloon brings us the latest on the search and how the victim's family members are reacting tonight.
41-year-old Anthony E. Smith is wanted for the murder of Bobby Daniels back on May 30th of last year. Police say Smith shot Daniels multiple times before leaving the scene. Daniels' sister Tony tells me it was the third shot to the head that killed her brother. The Cincinnati FBI office and Trotwood police have issued a $15,000 reward for information leading to Smith's arrest, as Daniels' family urges anyone with information to come forward.
My brother doesn't carry a gun. He's not a violent man. He was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. He was a very spiritual man. Married for 17 years, had 2 kids. Our family misses him. We only want the person held accountable.
This is the man law enforcement is asking you to be on the lookout for. Police say Smith also goes by Tay Smith, Tay, and Taterhead. Police warn he should be considered armed and dangerous, and anyone helping him hide could also face charges. If you have any information on Smith's whereabouts, you're urged to call your local police department or 1-800-CALL-FBI. You can remain anonymous. Back to you.
A Dayton man now facing charges months after a deadly Linden Avenue shooting in East Dayton. Now 30-year-old Jacob Ashba was indicted yesterday. He's facing those several charges, including reckless homicide, felonious assault, and tampering with evidence. Now back on June 17th, officers responded to a report of an active shooter. A several-hour-long SWAT standoff then took place near the Davis Linden building. 45-year-old Randy Allen was killed. Ashba is expected to be back in court later this month. Ohio Secretary of State office confirming that this November, Ohioans will decide if recreational marijuana is legalized in the state. Now, the ballot issue will seek to regulate marijuana like alcohol and tax it. That would mean any in the state over the age of 21 can use it. The organization that were gathering signatures to put this issue on the ballot fell nearly 700 short. However, petitioners were given 10 more days to get the remaining signatures, and they did. Now, that organization, the Coalition to Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol, put out the following statement. A spokesperson says, quote, "We are grateful to the thousands of Ohioans who helped us get to this point and are excited to bring our proposal to regulate marijuana like alcohol before Ohio voters this coming election day." Ohio U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown introducing bills aimed to help farmers here in the state. He's announcing what may be included in the 2023 Farm Bill. Abby Forbes joining us live in studio now after speaking with experts about this. But first, can you break down these bills exactly? What are they about?
Yeah, this legislative package features a set of bills. Each targets a different section of agriculture, and the Ohio Farm Bureau tells me the importance of supporting all these areas of agriculture.
Any help they can get to better their operation and to better the way they help the environment and their animals and their whole family is certainly going to be helpful in this legislation, and something that this COWS Act in particular is going to be helpful for any farmer that wants to get involved.
So here's a breakdown of those bills. The Converting Our Waste Sustainability, or COWS Act, focuses on establishing a new manure management conservation program to improve water quality, cut costs, help farmers increase profits, and minimize ag runoff. The Supporting Urban and Innovative Farmers Act focuses on supporting the growth of urban and suburban farmers. And the Enabling Farmers to Benefit from Processing Nutrition Programs Act focuses on helping farmers participate in federal nutrition programs. I spoke with several farmers about these bills, and more information about their concerns can be found on our website at Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
All right, Abby, thanks. Well, let's talk weather now. We're halfway through the week, and it sounds like we finally got to get back to monitoring some rain starting tomorrow.
Yeah, we got some rain second half of the day tomorrow, and really that's our only rain chance in
so
the forecast.
So enjoy it while we got it.
Yeah, over these next 7 days. I'll get more into our 7-day in a bit, but for right now we have 70s, 60s across the area, 67 in Troy, 59 in Urbana. That's our cool spot. Overall, a little warmer right now compared to where we were this time yesterday, and it is going to be a little bit of a warmer night for us too. Same thing with the day tomorrow, going to be just a little bit warmer than we were today. Otherwise, mostly clear sky. Bigger picture here. There's our next weather maker. Active weather moving through Wisconsin. This is going to be heading its way in second half of the day tomorrow, bringing us showers and thunderstorms into the area. Looks like it's going to be after 3-4 p.m. a little bit earlier for our northwestern counties. You can see here back to school forecast. Quiet start to the day. Storms start to move in by later into the afternoon. I was mentioning 3-4 p.m. So that's something to keep in mind for the kids heading out to the bus stop tomorrow.
Natalie, thanks. Live pictures over the White House now as officials announce President Biden is planning to survey the damage in Maui. Now, so far, more than 100 people have been known to lost their lives in what's become the country's deadliest wildfire in the last 100 years. Over 2,200 homes, businesses destroyed. Now, the president and first lady will be in Hawaii on Monday, and the White House says the Bidens want to ensure they don't interrupt any recovery efforts.
This is a city that has been completely devastated. You think about the history, the native history, generations of history on that island that has now been ruined. So we're going to continue to be there, not just for the short term, but for the long term.
Now, officials in Hawaii, they're continuing to answer questions, provide updates as wind and rain move into the area.
We just want people to remain vigilant. As we know, weather's coming in and winds are up. We are on standby. We are at the ready. And if something should come, we're ready for it. Molly.
Now, officials add that some fires are still burning a week after the wildfires first caused that devastation. And Ohio Task Force 1 members, they are on their way to Maui to help with that recovery. Mamie Ba in the newsroom tracking their journey.
They departed from Dayton International Airport just before 12 this afternoon. I'm told they will arrive in just a few hours tomorrow at 1 in the morning. They tell me this is a recovery mission and everyone is ready.
All of us have experience doing this kind of work. We all work dogs. All of these dogs are trained to do recovery work, which is what we call victims of a fire or a flood. And all of these dogs have been doing it for a long time. We've all been deployed multiple times to do this sort of work, and so we are prepared for the kind of work that we're going to do because that's what we've volunteered to do.
Task Force members tell me they know this is an emotional mission, but they are ready. Now, the last time they responded to a mission like this, a recovery mission, was in June of 2021 following the Surfside, Florida condo collapse. Back to you.
Mamie, thank you. A United Airlines passenger plane with more than 24,000 pounds of supplies headed from Chicago's O'Hare Airport to Hawaii. Now, it's hauling things like baby formula, baby care kits, canned goods, hygiene kits, and much more. The Northern Illinois Food Bank sent 41 pallets of dry goods from Aldi this morning. Officials say after delivering the aid, the plane will return to the U.S. with hundreds of displaced Maui residents stranded after the deadly wildfires.
We've flown over 12,000 people off the island since the 8th of August, just by using our aircraft to help move those customers.
Now, officials say this flight will come back completely full. Families, of course, distraught over the devastation in Maui. Local groups are assembling supplies to help in the aid and recovery while the island begins plans for cleanup and rebuilding. Tyler Madden has more.
It's heartbreaking. It's so sad. It's shocking.
Teresa Thompson's owned a house in Maui for about 7 months and is grateful it was not damaged by the fires. She's visited the island for the past 20 years, making countless memories in Lahaina.
It's crazy that it could take away this beautiful historic town, in a heartbeat. It was so fast.
She says in the tight-knit town, neighbors are helping each other in any way they can. Many local groups are heading to the island to help in the relief efforts, including Matthew 25 out of Blue Ash. A team of 8 will leave this weekend for Maui. I'm Tyler Madden reporting.
The Fulton County District Attorney asking a judge to set a trial date for former President Trump and his 18 co-defendants. Fannie Willis wants the trial to start on March 4th with arraignments to be set for next month. Now, Trump and the 18 others have 9 days to turn themselves in for booking at the Fulton County Jail. They face a total of 41 counts. Willis accuses the defendants of trying to interfere with the 2020 presidential election in Georgia. With the addition of the Georgia charges, Trump is currently facing 91 criminal charges. In Cincinnati, scheduling has pushed Bengals running back Joe Mixon's trial to a 4th day. Mixon's accused of pointing a gun at a woman after a road rage incident in January. The prosecution's only witness today was a Cincinnati police officer who took a follow-up interview with the victim. The officer said during that interview the victim seemed upset and emotional even 2 weeks later. Here's Mixon's defense team questioning that officer.
How did that make you feel? She didn't tell you she was terrified. She said, I was angry and trembling. Anger and not scared was her response as to how she felt. Is that correct?
Now, that officer is expected to have his cross-examination finished tomorrow. Once that's over, the defense will make their case, and it appears Mixon will testify. Now, Mixon is not the only Bengal right now standing out with legal troubles. Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase is seeking a court-ordered protection order from an Instagram model. In a memo, Chase says that the model, Amber Hunter, has been harassing him for 2 years, citing that the situation has caused him and his mom to have anxiety. Hunter says Chase is the father of her child. Chase denies that. In Dayton, several people are out of their homes after an apartment complex caught fire. Now, this happened this afternoon along Xenia Avenue. Thankfully, no one was injured. The Red Cross is helping families that were displaced. The cause of that fire is still under investigation. Kettering schools testing for Legionella bacteria in 4 buildings. We have results tonight ahead of back to school this week. Also, a plea deal on the table for the suspected mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks. We take a look into the decades-long prosecution.
Plus, tracking some fall-like weather and some storms in the forecast, too. That's coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Kettering City Schools says Legionella testing results at JFK Elementary Schools came back negative. Now, that announcement comes after the district said 4 buildings tested positive for it. They are still waiting for results from Fairmont High School, Kettering Middle School, and Oakview Elementary. District officials say that after talking with the company doing the test and looking at the lab results, the building will be open to students and staff for the start of the school year. All students in 1st through 10th grade start tomorrow. 11th and 12th graders go back on Friday. Now, Kettering, not the only district going back tomorrow. School kicks off for Fairborn students in the morning. Same goes for any students in Huber Heights, as well as Bellbrook. Elementary school students and freshmen return to school tomorrow in Xenia. West Carrollton's first day back is also Thursday. We'd love to share some of the first day of school photos with you now. Betsy sending these pictures into our newsroom of Owen and Emma, who started 11th grade at Centerville High School. Thanks very much for sharing that with us. It's a great photo there. And our morning anchor, Nathan Edwards, sharing a picture of his son, Hudson, very cute, who started school. Parents, we'd love to see your back to school pictures and videos. You can share them with us by scanning this QR code and take you to our app. Once you open it up, you look for Chime In, and then you can submit any photos and videos, and you might just see them live here on the air.
And it was a great day for back to school. Below normal temperatures for us. Tomorrow still going to be below normal, but we also have some storms in the forecast with a cold front that will be making its way in. So you can see this activity off in Wisconsin right now that will be making its way in by the second half of the day tomorrow. So timing it out for you tonight, we'll drop into the lower 60s, could see some upper 50s. By around 3 p.m. we'll top out in the lower 80s, and then notice we start to see activity making its way into our northwestern counties. So Salina, kids heading home from school around 3-4 p.m. We will likely see some rain around, and that'll be the case by late into the evening. About 6 p.m. through the evening, we could see a shower or thunderstorm making their way in. But we start out Friday very cool. Friday's looking beautiful, upper 70s in the forecast, lower humidity too, but we heat up even more by next week. I'll have more on that coming up.
Natalie, thanks. The suspected architect of the 9/11 attacks and others accused of being involved may be spared the death penalty. Lydia Bice at the Now Desk. What's exactly changed here?
So we've learned there are plea agreements now being looked at that would end more than a decade-long prosecution. The Associated Press got its hands on a letter sent out to some of the families of the people killed. The letter reads that no plea agreement has been finalized and may never be, but that it's possible the agreement would take the death penalty off the table. Now, the defendants involved in these cases include Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who's the suspected mastermind of the attacks.
And I can only imagine the reactions here as families given any reaction about him possibly getting a plea deal?
Yeah, Adam, they're outraged. However, the military prosecutors pledged to take their views into consideration and present them to military authorities who would make the final decision on accepting any plea agreement. The prosecution of Mohammed, who is the suspected architect, and 4 other defendants has been troubled by repeated delays and legal disputes. Part of the reason that a trial has been delayed is due to the treatment that the defendants faced when they were first in CIA custody. Back to you.
Lydia, thanks. It has now been 1 year since President Biden signed his $750 billion Inflation Reduction Act into law.
This law is one of the biggest drivers of jobs and economic growth this country has ever seen. Bidenomics is anchored in what's always worked best for the country: investing in America, investing in Americans. Because when we invest in ourselves, when we strengthen the middle class, we see stronger economic growth that benefits everybody.
The White House says the law lowers costs, puts the nation on track to reach its climate goals, strengthen energy, security, and create jobs. Republicans, though, disagree, calling the law a partisan spending spree. Former President Trump, who's running for re-election, says prices went up across the board. He blames the president's energy policies and their regulatory costs.
One of the most important issues in this campaign will be who can rescue our country from the burning wreckage of Bidenomics, which shall henceforth be defined as inflation, taxation, submission, and failure.
The president himself says the name Inflation Reduction Act doesn't quite capture the goal of the law, which he says was to provide alternatives to generate economic growth. All right, here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Sky Cam now over downtown Dayton. We are monitoring some rain tomorrow, right, Natalie?
Yeah, rain making its way in, so we'll start out quiet tomorrow, but after about 3-4 p.m. we will start to see some showers and some thunderstorms develop across the area. An isolated stronger storm to severe storm can't be completely ruled out. It's an overall very low risk. Can't rule out some gusty to damaging winds or some hail as that cold front makes its way in. So that's what we're expecting second half of the day tomorrow. But that's with a cold front, and once that makes its way through, it's going to be a beautiful one on Friday. Highs in the upper 70s. We start out very cool early Friday, close to 80 Friday afternoon, but then heading into next week, notice by Monday back into the lower 90s. So heat definitely returns. It'll feel like summer for the start of next week. Plan on above normal temperatures in the forecast for us with 90s expected. I'll have a look at that 7-day forecast coming up in a bit.
Governor Mike DeWine providing a plan to improve reading levels across the state. What's included in that initiative to help any student that's struggling? At a special landing at the Museum of the United States Air Force, we take a look at the helicopter museum officials welcomed in. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now. Governor Mike DeWine stopping by the University of Dayton today discussing the new Read Ohio initiative. Now, that initiative is an effort to improve all levels of literacy skills. That includes tips for caregivers and extra classes to help those struggling in English and reading. The governor also discussed how the state built this initiative through numbers they had to come up with while researching.
Read Ohio will encompass all of our efforts as we work to improve the literacy skills of Ohioans of all ages from early childhood throughout adulthood. It's never too early, never too late to learn how to read.
Now, DeWine says that all schools will be using this new initiative throughout the upcoming school year. The National Museum of the United States Air Force welcoming a very special helicopter earlier today. The HH-60G Pave Hawk helicopter led a mission in April of 2004 to rescue 5 U.S. Army soldiers whose own helicopter crashed during a sandstorm in Iraq. That crew was awarded the McKay Trophy for most meritorious flight of the year by a U.S. Air Force crew.
The reason that flight was so notable is because a huge sandstorm put a lot of navigation tools off the table. And so they had to find this downed crew without using a lot of their usual tools. But they found them, and working as a team, they recovered these people and avoided a couple of missiles and ground fire on the way back. And so it was a great teamwork rescue.
Now, the helicopter will become part of the permanent collection in the museum. You can check out the National Museum of the United States Air Force 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Admission is also free. Central State University holding a ribbon cutting today for a brand new pedestrian walkway. The walkway is at the main entrance of the campus on U.S. Route 42. Flashing lights were especially needed after a pedestrian was hit last August. Plans for the updated crosswalk have been in making ever since that happened.
We want to make sure that it is safe for all of our community members, even in people in Wilberforce and people who visit on the bike path, that it is safe to cross 42 and that they can come and go without any worries and fears of having to check for traffic themselves.
Now, Hill says the flashing lights will hopefully hit any blind spots in the area and remind drivers to be cautious. Thursday Night Lights just hours away. How both Beaver Creek and Xenia are getting ready for the chance to start the season 1-0. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.